So, hey, Matt,
Hey.
how do you get a guitarist to play quieter?
Oh, I don't know how.
You put a sheet of music in front of him.
That would work for me for sure.
Welcome to the Pedalboard Podcast, the podcast where all us old ass jaded gear junkies gather weekly to Jones for our next fix, talk about our next fix, and pretty much just act like rabid drug addicts, but our drugs are guitar pedals. We are joined today with the host with the most, Mr. Vince DeJoy of Vagabond Audio. If you have a pedalboard, he will build it better. And Matt from Mattoverse effects. He makes some wild, crazy stuff. Thank you for joining us, Matt.
Thanks.
How are you?
Good. I'm good. How are you guys?
I'm really good. I know that Vince is just mad jelly because my V-neck is way deeper than his was last time.
You know what?
Look at that.
You know what? I'm coming shirtless next time, so I might just wear a dickie.
Like a neck gaiter.
Yeah.
Or a bow tie. No, tie the neck gaiter into a bow tie. So just to kind of let people know, in audience land, tell us a little bit about yourself and your Mattoverse effects.
I'm just a guy, I guess, living in Wisconsin. I build pedals in my free time. I guess kind of a lifelong musician that got tired of making music nobody listened to eventually. So decided to try and build some physical objects to see how that went. And that's been kind of the focus the last 5 or 6 years, has been doing that. But did find it kind of combined all my things I like to do, just sort of make weird art and weird videos and stuff. I kind of get to do it all by doing the pedals. So it effectively scratches most of the itches, and I get to sort of switch around when I get tired of any one particular area.
No, that's fair. I built guitars for a long time for that very same reason. This is like, you know what I want doesn't exist. I don't want to pay someone else absurd amounts of money to build it for me.
Yeah.
So I'm just going to do it myself, for better or worse. For better or worse. So we recently, you sent us a bunch of cool stuff, swag. I love your like coffee cups and stuff like that. It would have been nice to get one. We have I have all the swag, so I have to send it to Vince here. But it says thank you, Brandon and Vince. May it see you well. Thanks, man. Just totally ghosted.
Well, that's only 2 people he mentioned to me in the email, so sorry.
Vince.
I didn't know there was a lull.
I can explain. See, what happened was...
Yeah, do tell, Vince. We're gonna throw you under the bus because I knew that's how it went down. He denied it.
Well, so no, so he and I were talking, and I had him send the air trash to Brandon, and it was just kind of organic like that. So yeah.
You know, but the air trash is fantastic. Definitely kind of hit the nail on the head with what you were shooting for with that guy. It is the finest garbage you will ever play. Like it's just like it's like if you took like the worst like fuzz pedal, but you made it like in a usable way, like you could actually use it for something because it's not so out there that you can't do anything with it. But I love it because I like play a lot of like garage rock and stuff, and I just want that nasty fuzz tone. It's just there. I mean, like I didn't even play with the dials when I plugged that thing in, and it's like, oh, awesome. Sounds like
It's very nasty. And since it's described as sounding like garbage, so nobody can disparage it and make me feel bad. It doesn't bother me because it does
no,
sound.
you nailed it. No, you nailed it. It's like, I can't sing its praises higher than that. I mean, like you set out to do just that, and you knocked it out of the park.
See, before Lowell and I were, we contacted you. I told you about the board he was building and wanted the air trash to be on it, and I remember saying like, you think he would be offended by us asking like to do this with him? And he's like, well, he advertises it as trash, like as the worst sounding pedal possible. So
it's only fitting that it goes on the worst sounding pedal board, which is happening. We have everything assembled, all the pedals are in place. We're getting a board together, and I'm thinking about laminating a bunch of garbage in epoxy, like cigarette butts and like bottle caps and prophylactics and maybe some syringes. And
Nice.
well, I do
become an
like,
art exhibit.
I had a diabetic dog for a while, so I still have a box of syringes in the pantry, so I could just throw some of those in
Yeah,
there.
blame the dog.
Yeah, do I look like I do drugs?
used Band-Aids in there.
Yeah, I used. Oh, that's great. That's a great idea. Used Band-Aids.
Okay, throw a used tampon in there for good measure.
Maybe one of Vince's wee pads.
I'll send you one of my diapers.
He's not quite housebroken yet. His pedals on the floor at night. They got him trained in a corner. No, it's really cool. I have a question. Like, what inspired that? Was there just like a particular pedal, or maybe just had a wild hair? What inspired the Mattoverse air trash?
I was trying to make like a super low parts count delay pedal actually to like to put in some of my synth pedals. It wouldn't be like too much of a headache to build, but a lot of times when I'm breadboard and stuff, I'll just like take the input and just sort of run down the chip and plug it in all the pins and sort of see what happens. And so I was kind of messing around and I found some weird sounds doing that. And I just like, it sounded really bad, but I kept like half an hour later, I'd still be like playing a single note on the guitar and listening to it. And I was like, this is pretty fun. And I kept trying to like make it better, I guess, quote unquote, or more usable, but it always kind of made it less fun. So I was like, oh, I'll make, 10 of these because I want one. Because usually to like get an enclosure printed, I need to do at least 10, at a very minimum. So I was like, well, I'll do one for myself. Then maybe if I can sell the other 9, it'll like pay for the project. But it's kind of ended up being my most popular pedal by far. So it shows what I know, I guess, as far as what people like.
Love that you're trying to build something completely different. And
you just try to build a delay pedal,
yeah.
And out comes the air trash. No, but it will be featured on our upcoming worst of the worst. You've tried the worst, now try the thirst. The thirsty worst. It's gonna have some real garbage compatriots, and some of this stuff we had to seek far and wide to get our hands on, because one of the pedals was literally so bad people didn't even bother to return. They just threw it away. This is a story as old as time. It is told by many people that have owned this pedal. It is the Moogig Reverberg. It is the worst. It takes the cake. It wins the prize. It wears the crown.
Never thought I'd hear a really shitty reverb, but damn.
It's the worst.
Nice.
We had to like search, like scour all of our connections, our internets, our interwebs, our inner friends to find this thing. We had to journey and quest. It was epic. It was long-winded, and it was more expensive than it should have been.
It's kind of a happy accident, though, that we found it where we did.
It was. I definitely over alliterate the nastiness of this pedal, but I cannot it's beyond description. I could write a novel on like how bad I
Fan
might
fiction on the
fan fiction.
on
I'll
the-
do Star
on the
Trek
pedal.
fan fiction about
Hmm.
I actually have a friend that writes Star Trek fan fiction. It's not good.
Jesus.
It's real bad, but no, it's that's amazing that it actually was spawned from a completely different like concept. It just kind of thrust itself into existence.
Yeah, it came out of the ether, right out of the garbage into my lap, I guess.
It's gonna be really cool. I ran it through a Fender Bassman that I have, and my God, it was nasty. And my drummer was just like, "What is going on?" And I'm like, "That's perfect." When he just stops and just like, "What is that?" That's like perfect. That's my get your attention pedal now.
So I definitely want to hear more about this, the double gate drone synthesizer, because
Yes,
this
please.
piqued my interest.
Oh, it's just like a pretty simple like square wave drone, but there's a couple of them in there, and you can kind of run one into the other one if you want to, and make terrible space sounds, or kind of like robots dying sounds. It's actually out of stock right now. I'm not sure I'm going to build more at this point because the drones are kind of like time consuming to build. There are lots of pots and switches, but people don't want to pay much money for a noise racket machine for the
Fair
most part.
False.
So
False.
You've met the only two guys that would do that.
yeah, well, there's
Yeah.
definitely some out there for sure, but
Because I noticed it doesn't have any foot switches on it. So is it just kind of like something that's just always on, or
yeah, it's just output only. Yep.
okay?
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, I have the EVH little ring modulator, whatever, the drone little synth. That's pretty wild. I used it for some like goofy noises. That was a lot of fun. This is kind of the same thing where you just plug it into an amp or something. Just
Yeah, yeah,
here
yeah.
it
I mean,
goes.
when I started building stuff, I wasn't trying to build guitar pedals. I was trying to learn how to build synths because I was kind of more into synths at the time, and I was buying lots of analog synths. It was really expensive to keep buying them and reselling them.
I know. I believe me. I got that same bad. I got that bad habit too.
So I was trying to slow down the process by learning how to build some of the stuff, and then a lot of people, I would sell some of like the projects on Reverb or whatever, like built in tins and things. Everybody's like, I want to plug my guitar into it, and I was like, no, that's not what it's for. And then I was just like, okay, I'll try it, and then that's sort of one thing led to another. So
Dude, that's awesome. I recently about a year ago I was at a garage sale and I saw by this guy's welder at the very bottom of a pile of slag a familiar shape.
Hmm.
And I was looking and I was like, that's an Art Odyssey. Like I just saw the side panel, right? And I was like, that's an Art Odyssey. And I ventured to guess that it was an MK2. It's like, so I talked the guy into selling it to me for like 150 to $200. It was in total disrepair, right? And then I happened upon a guy that restores vintage synthesizers very well. Like he goes stem to stern. Paints. I'm looking slightly to what would be your left,
yep.
and I see a magical.
I believe that's the sound toy.
Oh, that's
Oh,
my
sound
sound
toy.
toy. That's my
Oh,
sound toy. Should I hide it farther?
No, it's good. Let's
Get the
just go
hell
ahead.
out of here, sound
Let's
toy.
we're gonna blow the sound toy thing off early because I am curious and I want to know. So prepare yourselves, listeners, for the sound toy of the week.
Paddle time, do 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 do. Paddle time, brought from me to you.
Oh yeah.
Yes, Matt, show us that magnificent. Yes, please. I know what that is, but you tell them.
Oh, it's just
Love it.
it's an old Duosonic from the 60s. I kind of really got into, I like short scale guitars because I'm kind of slight of size and it makes me feel like a big man with
Me
big
too.
hands when I have a little guitar.
I love
I know
short
what you
scale.
mean.
I love short scale guitars, and I'm fucking huge.
Yep, and they
Like-
hardly make they don't make that many of them anymore. Like I've had a bunch of like it's usually like I've had like the mini Strats and stuff, but they're all kind of like
Those are
pretty-
toys. Those are like
pretty
kids'
cheaply
toys.
made. Yeah,
That Duosonics are great. I really like Mustangs. My first major guitar that I ever owned was a Fender Jagstang.
oh nice. Yeah,
Still sitting over there. Like still have it, still use it. So you can see the Daphne blue little guy right
Oh
there.
yeah, that's pretty. Yeah, that's a good color too.
I love that guitar. I have an old Mustang too. That's I just absolutely positively can't do without. I prefer shorter scale guitars. Hence the reason I have like a propensity for Gibsons because
Yep,
they got the shorter scale. But I even like the Jaguar scale. I've got a Jaguar that I love. One of my favorite guitars, though, weirdly enough, is an old Silvertone 1448.
Oh nice. Yeah, those are
The
cool.
little amp and case guitars. They're super
Mhm.
short. They're like 23 inches. Savage.
Yeah, I think this one's 22.5. I actually got rid of an old Mustang to get this one because on the Mustangs they got the
Yeah, the switches. I mean,
Switches
the
here.
Duosonics are just
and they hurt my I always rest my palm here, and those dang switches were always like scratching
the
my
first thing I did when I got my Jagstang was those switches went bye-bye.
Yeah, exactly.
I just had them taped over until I figured out that I could order this was back in the 90s, but I figured out I could order a pick guard without them from Warmouth.
Yeah.
So I was like, hell yeah.
Yeah, the one I had was like a old vintage one too, but I didn't know if I think the routing was different, so it wasn't routed right to move the switch where I wanted.
That's fair. That you run into that a lot when you're buying pick guards for vintage guitars.
Yeah,
It's like
and I was like, I don't want to spend a year like ordering $200 worth of pick guards to
I
screw
always
up this cool guitar.
I would just because like with the cool thing with like Warmouth that you can do that I've done many times is you can get the pick guards that are cut and they have like the pickup cutouts and stuff, but the rest you can have them not punched in the rest of the holes. So you can line up your own screw holes. You can put the switches wherever you want them. I had a Valco in the neck of that thing for a while. I'm not sure if you're familiar with like a Valco pickup.
Yep.
Yeah, you might be. You seem like the type that would know what about.
I've definitely heard of them. I'm actually surprisingly, even though I do like electronics for pedals, I'm never like, I think I've switched pickups on a guitar like once or twice in my life, and 25 years of playing, I don't do much with guitar modding at all for some reason.
That's totally fair. It's like one of the things that we always preach on this channel is that this experience is different for everybody, and not one person's experience is more right than another person's. You got to kind of
Sure.
realize that there's a lot of like the guitar community can be very, very finicky as far as like and full of true believers.
Yeah.
And there is a power in being a true believer for sure, but the double-edged sword of that is you tend to not be very open to other ideas, other concepts, or you believe that your concept is so right that you would be wrong. I've always loved flipping pickups. It's an easy way to really kind of dial in a sound, and I found out there's certain pickups that I like, certain pickups that I don't. Kind of gives me the touch that I need. But the Valco is cool because it's like a P90. If a P90 was just more focused,
Nice.
it kind of walks the line between a P90 and a humbucker because it's stacked instead of being laid out. It's all stacked up. But I put that in the neck of my Jagstang and I had to carve it out with a chisel. Like you can't see any of that carnage. It was not the best job. Some of my propensity for experimentation has definitely ruined a guitar or two.
I've done that. Yeah.
You got to do it though. I feel like it's a phase that everyone needs to like travel through to get to the end. Vince, have you blown any guitars out doing experiments? You're kind of a perfectionist, so probably not.
I am. I have a parts caster I put together a couple years ago, and my father-in-law found it in the trash and then sent it to me, and I figured I'd do something with it. It didn't come out well at all. I'm probably just going to scrap the parts in it and just kind of cannibalize it and part it out somewhere else. But yeah, it was very much a failed thing. Like the headstock decal came out all shitty and the pickups sound awful. Like it wasn't a good time.
So Vince, what is your sound toy of the week? Since it's gonna be hard to top that because that thing looks vintage. Do you know what year that is?
I think it's a 64 or 65.
Yeah, good luck with that, Vince. Continue, give it a shot.
Well, you might actually appreciate this one.
I probably will. I love stuff. I love guitar stuff.
Well, I mean, I like stuff and things. But this one in particular, because I know you have a particular love for a single pedal on your board. But Jesse over at Root Tech sent me the 3 Muff 14.
Oh, nice.
It's 3 Russian big muffs in one box. It's got the black, the green, and the Civil War.
I have the weirdest butt boner right now.
Jesse's a good dude too.
Yeah. No, we're gonna have him on here at some point. But yeah, no, he sent this to me to try, and it does the thing. I'm gonna send this to you when I'm done with it. But I figured you would appreciate this.
I
one a
love
lot.
big muffs,
Especially the Russian.
They're my jam. Like big muffs are my jam.
Now, I don't know how this stacks up against the original green one you have, but
that's a weird one. That was like I've gone through so many to find that one because as I know Vince knows, and I'm sure you do, Matt, like even if you get 2 of the same model, sometimes in those vintage pedals, they don't sound the same.
Yeah,
like,
no, for sure.
There's different values, and like, you know, there's a lot of elements that can change the sound, and they're not all made equal. I have a green Russian big muff that is the mightiest green Russian big muff I have ever used. And believe me when I tell you, I have used a lot. It's beefy, it's mighty, it's been the cornerstone of my tone for 1,000 years. Because I'm old. I might not look good, but I am super old. So like it's really good. And it's yes. So Vince, I'm mad jealous. Actually, you nailed it. Sorry, I underestimated you. I apologize.
But I'll forgive it this time. But next time we're gonna have some words.
Words and sweet kisses.
Damn right.
My sound toy of the week is since we're talking with Matt, and since one of the things that we're doing with Matt is we're featuring one of his pedals on one of our boards. It's like the cornerstone pedal of one of our boards. I'm going to show you another pedal from that board that is garbage. It looks cool. The concept is neat. It's pretty awful. So
It's the one I'm thinking of.
Vince knows my board because Vince built my current board. He built it. There's also another cornerstone pedal that I have used for a long time, a Digitech WH1. I've been using Digitech whammies since I can remember. So this pedal initially fascinated me, but it just really fell short in the mouth. I give you the Dan Electro Pitch Daddy.
Oh, nice.
It's
got the flames.
Yeah, it's like a.
It's got wheels. Oh yeah.
Oh wow.
I remember those.
So
I mean,
is that
like,
just
right,
the world's
it looks-
worst whammy.
Yes, it's got echo in there too, which is just not something you really want to throw in with the
Yeah.
whammy.
So how's the tracking on that?
Horrible. But the
Perfect.
tracking on the whammy is not great either. And that's what makes, like, when I played a Digitech Whammy 5, I hated it because the tracking was perfect. I was like, dude, it loses all these artifacts and these weird little glitches that are like literally the magic sauce that makes a whammy sound cool.
Yeah, but if you want to use a pitch pedal, like you want the tracking to be good. So
I don't want the tracking to be good.
You're one of the only ones that don't.
This is not an opinion that is unusual. Like, a lot of people are like,
I get that. Like, you want the glitchiness. I understand that. And the 4, I think the tracking was shit. But something like a Pog is more akin to the Whammy 5 now because the tracking's completely perfect.
well, yeah, EVH nails the tracking to the wall. But I like the 4, actually. I totally like the 4. It's glitchy and awful and fun, and it's just, I like pedals that are fun, man. They don't have to be perfect. In fact, if they're perfect, I'm less likely to like it than if they're imperfect.
Well, it depends on the context you're using it. So like for me, if I, like with the band that I'm in, if I use something like the 1 or the 4, I would probably get bitched at. But something like the 5 would be perfect because it does what it's supposed to do.
Dude, if God gives you lemons, find a new God. Okay, that's what I say. You know, that's what I tell your band. You know what I mean? Dude, if you don't like this, you are wrong. You can be and are wrong. Remember that thing I was talking about, acceptance? Throw that out the door. Like their opinion is and can be wrong. You can tell them
it just depends on the context. And I agree, the Whammy 4 doesn't sound bad and the Whammy 1 is great. It depends on what you're using it for.
What's Matt, what kind of, like, if we were to like take a peek at your guitar effects, would we find, how many Mattoverse effects would we find on your board?
I don't even really have an active board set up, to be honest. I mean, I got a big shelf of pedals, but I'm not a big pedal guy. Surprisingly enough. I mean, I buy
that's a first.
Mind,
I buy a bunch of pedals to try for sure, but I don't like keep a lot. And even when I was gigging regularly, I probably had 3 or 4 pedals max at any time. I mean, this was like 20 years ago, so pedal boards weren't quite as big of a thing then, but
you are blowing my mind, sir. No, it's like, because like I have never met you or spoke to you other than just right now, but I have a bunch of your swag and I've looked at your website a number of times, and you have these really cool like shirts and stickers like "Make Noise, Not War." You know, I kind of expected definitely a more over the top kind of dude, just kind of based on like, you know, your like the write-ups that you do on your pedals and stuff. Yeah. I've read all this stuff, and I expected like a more bombastic dude. No, you're just kind of like a soft spoken.
Yeah, just kind of quietly weird.
Yeah, quietly weird. Where I expected a way more extroverted weird.
No, I'm definitely introvert.
Dude, I love it. It's I might seem like a really like a bombastic extrovert, but I'm not really. I mean, I'm a extrovertedly inverted. Like, I'm really extroverted when I need to be, but like,
yep.
I get excited when I get excited about something, like talking about music gear and stuff like that, or whatever, or comic books, or action figures, or like retro game systems. I'll talk your ear off, dude. But like, you know, most of the time I'm just like quietly working, toiling away in my workshop. But no, you're not what I expected, and that is awesome. That's actually, I love being sideswiped, and I absolutely love being surprised. I love the Make Noise, Not War. Now tell me about that. Tell me about like the Make Noise, Not War. What did that just, is something you just kind of came up with the top of your head, or does that mean something? Or
yeah, I guess so. I mean, yeah, it was just I don't even really remember when I came up with it. Just started putting it on the pedals and made that little logo, and then people seem to like it, so it's just kind of stuck, I guess.
No, it's definitely cool. Like the coffee.
I mean, I think a lot of my stuff was more noisy than, I'm definitely not the guy to go to for like the best in category of whatever pedal you're after. And I don't claim, and I don't really claim to be. I don't know. For me, that was never my game. You know, like a lot of pedal companies are like, this is the best whatever pedal that you've ever heard, and it sounds better than all the other similar pedals like it. I'm just kind of like, it makes these sounds, they're pretty weird. It might be you're kind of weird. That's about as far as I go, as far as tooting my own horn, I guess.
Yeah, they're definitely in the realm of my kind of weird.
I think we definitely need guys like you though, who are just making noise machines, because everything else can seem so vanilla. And
well, I mean, I just feel like there's so much great stuff out there that does all the meat and potatoes type stuff you want to do, and even a lot of great weird stuff too. So the world doesn't need any more of that, and I'm definitely don't have the engineering chops to bring it to you either, even if I wanted to. So
well, considering the air trash was a delay, it started out as a delay. No, it's great. I mean, I would nominate it for best and worst category, you know, because it's, you set out. I mean, like, that is it sounds like the worst pedal you've ever owned, but if that
It does it
pedal
well.
was really like usable,
Yeah.
which would say that as far as the usability, I've run this thing through a few different amps and a few different like amp sims and stuff like that, and it didn't sound good on any of them, which is exactly like but it was kind of, it didn't, I wouldn't say it sounded bad, but I would say it's very rude.
Yeah.
It's a rude pedal. You want to
It's
get
weird
somebody's attention.
After building so many of them and having to test them all, I've kind of like developed more of an appreciation for it, actually, because
I instantly appreciated
it.
it.
It kind of like does weird stuff and continues to surprise me. And a lot of people find weird sounds in it that I didn't find. You know what I mean? A lot of users send me videos where like, oh, that's cool that they dragged that sound out of it or whatever. So
for our review show on pedalboard, it's actually one of the ones up. We have a review show called Death and Rainbows, and
nice.
Vince once asked me on a podcast to describe myself in 2 words, and that's what the 2 words was: Death and Rainbows. But it's going to be featured on that, and it's definitely going to. So you'll have a pretty bombastic, over the top review to play with, and you are welcome to use that however you wish. You can do whatever you want with it once we're done, but it will be, and then obviously it's going to be featured on the board. So you like described, I'm curious now that you've talked about the fact that you don't have a propensity for a lot of pedals, like as far as like using them right now. What would your rig look like if you were like gonna go like set up to play like something? What would we see?
All right, now I'd probably just have a amp, 1 guitar, maybe 2 guitars. The board would probably just be something simple like tuner, boost. I mean, I'd probably use some of my pedals now, like a fuzz, delay, just something to make it louder. But I don't know, nothing too exciting. I mean, I definitely mess around with more noisy boards just at home for fun, but that's usually just for demos. Like the music I gig with most recently, I actually play drums, not not guitar. I mean, in my youth, I played hard rock. Like, I grew up in the '90s, so we loved Pearl Jam and Nirvana, and then wanted to be Tool and the Deftones and fell short.
I grew up in the '90s, so I get you.
We played, Les Pauls, and Drop D was our that was our wheelhouse primarily.
5 years I played in nothing but Drop D for 5 years. I'm really good at it now. I mean, I learned how to do a lot of stuff in Drop D. It gets the job done.
But now I can't even use now I only like single coil guitars. I think maybe I ruined my high-end hearing, so humbuckers always just sound like mush to me. I can't pick out any note definition, so pretty much always end up back with Fender style single coil guitars for the most part at this point.
That's the only right answer anyway.
Shut up, Vince. No, I get you, dude. But duo sonics and stuff like that, those kind of pickups and those kind of guitars.
Yeah, I mean, at home, I probably mostly just plug straight into an amp and play with my fingers for 10 minutes or whatever. I mean, I make a lot of demos too, where I go through the pedals or whatever. But beyond that, yeah, I mean, I'm not really gigging guitar regularly at this point in my life, so I don't really have to worry about it.
Dude, I get you. Plugging there's a magic though to be said for plugging directly into your amp. There is a magic that happens. I do it quite frequently. One of my favorite amps to play through. I probably shouldn't say this since I have this reputation for being a pedal guy, but 9 times out of 10 when I sit down to just play guitar, I'm not doing anything. There's no purpose. I'm not saying, okay, well, I'm going to write something, or I'm going to record a demo or a puppet show, which I've been doing lately. It's like I'm just want to play guitar for the electric guitar for the fun of it. I have 2 amps I use. One is a Fender Pro Junior, just real basic tweed.
Yeah, I like
Junior. And usually I'll play my little Silvertone short scale 1448. Just a great tone. I even have a coily cable. a bullet coily cable that I've been using for the better part of 10 years. So special thanks to one of our sponsors, Bullet Cables. I try to remember to thank sponsors. I forget it all the time.
Send me a curly cable bullet and I'll give him a nice thanks. But until then,
Fender curly cables.
Yeah, right.
Actually, I did buy one of the Jimi Hendrix ones. I'm not gonna lie, the purple Jimi Hendrix like coily cables. It comes with the old school like huge pancake ends.
yeah.
It's pretty bad, but it's pretty badass. But I really like. I had to bathe. I bought the white curly. I have two of them. The white curly 30-footer bullet cable, like 10, 15 years ago. And I had to give it a bath the other day where I took the, because it's white and it's just horribly dirty. So I like had the bathtub and I had the ends in my hand and I was like dunking it, trying to get it cleaned up a little bit. It just looked like seriously disgusting.
Just take a wet wipe to it.
It's sticky. Like the gunk had built up beyond the point of what like a wet nap is not going to take care of it. Maybe it's like one of them bleach ones. And I got real in there with like a scouring pad or something. It's like touring funk, dude. You don't even know, dude. I had a shirt that was so crusty once, I broke it. I broke my shirt because I would wear dress shirts for this tour that we were doing, and we had a wardrobe, like one of them like road case wardrobe things. And at the end of the night, when we're backstage, I would just take the shirt off, hang it in the wardrobe, right, and then I mean, it smelled pretty awful. But we just had some Axe body spray.
Oh my god.
Dude, I used to have to change, like sometimes for some gigs, I'd have to change in the parking lot. Like we would just be like, who cares? We were all thin and cut and like young, so we're just like, who cares?
So your shirts are just coked in sweat and fucking Axe
sweat
body spray
and beer and Axe body spray and fluids, just whatever comes at you. And like, but yeah, I broke a piece of the shirt off, dude, like at the bottom. Like you could just grab it. That's, somebody needs to do their shirt laundry.
That's fucking disgusting.
I used to have to carry around a bottle. I used to wear white ties with it. I'd wear this black suit or this black shirt, black pants, some wild gator square-toed cowboy boots. I had a white belt with a huge like skull belt buckle. I was looking fly, bro, like super fly. I had this very Jack white thing kind of going on, except for I had like a beard. And yeah, all those clothes, I still have them actually, weirdly enough. I'm gonna frame that shirt because I played like 1,000 gigs.
It's probably stiff enough that you can probably hang it.
Just slap it on the wall.
Yeah.
Don't break it.
Don't break it. It's fragile. I just don't know. I've never so imagine that level of gunk on a cable.
Oh yeah.
God.
It still works though. To its credit, it still works. And that thing got abused. I used to run out into the crowds or jump on top with it. I used to I used the Fender Pro Junior for that tour, which was awesome because I just walk in with a guitar, one hand, and a big muff. That was it. That's all I had. So I'd walk in, set it up. I was set up in like 2 seconds. And then I put it on a chair, and then I had a ratchet strap that I would ratchet strap the amp to the chair, so I couldn't pull it down. And then it was a wild time. But they make good stuff. Thanks, Bullet.
Playing those 4-hour bar shows and then picking up the PA snake afterwards, that was always a treat.
I love the way that you put that. That was a treat.
Yeah, coiling up that after all the beer and stuff that had been spilled on it and broken glass and loading it up for the next day.
The worst thing I did is I did a tour with a blues guitar player. This guy would play like he was very much like a we just did some shows with him, but he was one of them Stevie Ray Vaughan like types, where he'd play with like 13 some crazy heavy string gauge, and he was doing like 4 or 5 hour bar gigs, right? Actually, we were splitting them up, where we do like part of it and then he'd do part of it, but he's still doing like these insanely long shows on 13s. remember one time we're sitting there drinking whiskey at the bar after the show, just trying to wind down. You know how it is after a show. You just got to like, you're so jacked up. You got to like, kind of like, if you want to try to sleep, you got to kind of level yourself off, which is the reason that the road is a dangerous place and you can develop addictions real easy because you're just trying to like live better through modern chemistry. But we were sitting there with super glue as I super glued these gigantic pits in his fingers.
No, I did that.
Yeah.
When I was in high school, I was a big blues guy. I loved Steve Ray Vaughan when I was first starting playing guitar. And I try and play thick strings too, but yeah, it would kill your fingers. I just put the super glue on my tips though, and then I'd stick it to my arm here, and then you could pull off, and then you had like a couple layers of skin from your arm. I found that works better than gluing after the fact. Sort of did that pre-show.
Oh,
or halfway through. Preemptive, yeah. Because if you're playing lots of shows, it already hurts. So if you want that tone, with 12s when you're playing your SRV guitar through your PV Bandit, I mean, how else are you gonna get the
your PV Bandit?
How are you gonna get the tone?
I had a Bandit. Those are actually not terrible.
Oh, man.
Good stuff. I had a Bandit and then a Bandit half stack. I spray painted silver. It was not a great idea, but
I used to
We
when I
don't
was
make
doing
mistakes.
I was in an Irish punk rock band. That was like the first band I ever did, like with anything with. My rig was so awesome. I had a white Les Paul like studio with the ebony fretboard, just good looking guitar. A JMP super lead Marshall
loud
on a white snakeskin cab. Oh, like you can see, like if you look at the pictures, like if I have my wife is a certified picture framer, so she's like framing all this stuff for me, all my old tour stuff and stuff like that. I'm gonna put all over the studio. Just like this could be my vanity room, I guess. But you're gonna see you'll see a lot of common themes as they evolve. I might put them in sequential order so you can kind of see the
see your downfall.
downfall. My evolution of style, bro.
That was the thing back in the day.
That was a thing, dude. You're like
if you wanted to rock, you had to
snakeskin, bro. I mean, like what? Snakeskin and suit tie, like a tie. Like I don't know. Did you ever get into like the stage garb, Matt?
Oh no, we didn't do anything. We probably just took our shirts off when we shouldn't have, and wore stocking caps and shell necklaces or something, and jumped around.
Play like break stuff.
Yeah, we did for sure.
Shell necklaces.
Yeah. It worked for a time.
No, dude, that was when I was a kid. It's just fun, like especially talking to other like 90s kids. When I was a young man, I used to have like a uniform that I'd kind of wear. I'd wear like blue camo shorts.
Yeah. That
were big, like too big. I was definitely in middle school, like the Jinko kid. I'd skateboard around on my Jinkos and airwalks.
Yep.
Yeah, because I was an airwalk guy, and band t-shirts. I had like a Nirvana like sliver band t-shirt stuff. But there was a point where I just got tired of wearing branded stuff, so I'd get these blue things and just black t-shirt.
Yeah.
And beanie, right? And
gotta have the beanie.
Yeah, and a beanie. And
God.
Yeah, you remember the beanies. Everybody did that back in the day. But we would be playing, we made a drinking game when we would play GTA 3. There's in Grand Theft Auto 3, there is a gang that dresses exactly like that. Blue camo shorts, black shirt, beanie. And we had the Kill Lowell drinking game. So every time you killed Lowell in GTA, you had to take a shot.
I think I maybe had like a Dickies outfit for a while, like the Dickies work pants and the Dickies work shirt, all one color.
I
probably,
never had enough ass to wear Dickies.
or a wife beater, just a wife beater, and Dickies work. I mean the A shirt, I guess. Maybe wife beater's not a proper description of the shirt anymore.
It's yeah, I don't know.
It's frowned
Sometimes,
upon.
yeah, sometimes with language, it's hard to kind of. Recently watched a, 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 a truck, like a Sunday video. And yeah, there's some things that really kind of sideswipe me, from the 80s that are not okay to say anymore, that were just in casual advertising. So
Yeah.
it's a slippery slope, but I get what you're saying. It was, but that was the look back then, dude. I can remember the Jinkos and A shirt. Is that what you said? A shirt.
Yeah. Rap rock was at its pinnacle.
Great
God.
stuff, dude.
Jesus.
Got some faith.
Yeah.
Well, I guess it would be nice.
We used to cover some of those songs back in the day for sure.
Starting to date yourself a bit, Lowell.
What's that?
That you're starting to date yourself
Oh, yeah.
I don't care.
a bit.
How old are you, Vince?
I just turned 28.
Oh, that's awesome. I just turned 40 this year. So
Nice. I'm just a little bit behind you. I turned 38 this year. Vince is like 12.
I wear it well.
He does.
it's good to be 28.
Yeah, I don't feel 28 though. I feel like I'm 62.
Oh, that's not good.
But you got just remember after 30, there's two things
Downhill.
that happen. No. There's a very good thing that happens, and then there's the shitty reality. The good thing happens is you care far less about things.
Oh yeah, no, I'm getting to that point. Yeah.
It's brilliant. You're not like, like when you go out sometimes, like when you're 20s, you like prune yourself up and you're very concerned about your look and you're making sure everything's like copacetic and all this other stuff. You stop caring about that after 30, which was great. And then the bad side is that when you get injured, more than likely it's going to be permanent.
Yeah. Well, the Army's kind of put my body through the ringer, so I'm already 40 years plus now.
You're tough.
But, I've taken a lot of shots. Let's just say that. So I'm
with you, dude.
My body's done.
I've been sewn back together twice, so like,
yeah, me too.
Yeah, I got a shoulder, replaced shoulder and a replaced knee.
Yeah.
And a plate.
I've had more holes in my body than you're supposed to have, so
that's not good.
Yeah. No.
Well, he's I'd say this is a professional hazard, for sure. Definitely probably has a lot to do with it. Mine was just stupidity. So
well, stupidity when I was young, and then the last 6 years it just put my body through hell.
It's all good, man. But you just know that after 30, it gets things like level off, and that's the thing I really liked about after I turned 30. Mentally, I just kind of like got my shit together. Life.
Well, I'm really not excited for 30 at all, but I know I'm definitely going to care about things way less. But I'm already at the point where, like, if it's cold out, my body hurts. So there is that balancing, but yeah. I'm not looking forward to it because I know for me it's just going to be fucking downhill. After 21 was downhill for me. I can only expect what's going to happen at 30.
I'm looking forward to 40. Like
that's not so great.
I found, like, just given my personality, like the older that I get, the more I get away with. Like,
well, when you hit senility, you can go around flipping kids off, and it's fine.
By the time you get, life is generally easier though. By the time you get to 40, for the most part,
I've just found that my equity has changed. Like, as I approach 40, I've noticed that my life equity has changed. Like, because when you're like younger, your life equity is definitely more money based because you don't have a lot of it, and it's always an issue. You're like, how am I going to be able to afford this? How am I going to afford that? Once you kind of get to a point where, like, I'm at a point now where that's not so much my equity. Money's kind of, I figured it out. I make decent money. I live above my means. Like, it's like I live within those means, but those means are nice. like luxurious to a realistic point of view. But time becomes your equity because you don't have a lot of it, and time flies like super fast. Like a day goes like yesterday. We did a podcast and we got done at like 4:30 or something like that, and before I knew it, it was 8 o'clock. Like dude,
Oh no, we started at almost 5 and we got done. Yeah, it was almost 8.
that's your time.
Oh yeah. Sorry,
My
I
time,
forget.
bro.
Sorry, I forget the difference.
The time equity, because time slips by faster. Like I literally blinked and I was almost 40. Like after I hit 30. It's just
You're giving me something to look forward to. Thanks.
you're bored a lot less. Like
you can start building guitar pedals when you're 35, and then you can sell them with the board.
Dude,
I'm already starting to venture into it, and I don't know if it's for me.
Yeah.
Cool down, man. I know a buddy of mine just recently got into building studio rack gear.
Oh, nice.
Like he buys the kits and he like built himself some like really nice compressors. I'm actually thinking about doing that because
I used to be big into that rabbit hole, and now I don't have any of that gear anymore.
no,
It's like if it doesn't sound good through the interface, it's my fault.
Interfaces change. That's something we can talk about. How interfaces changed the game. They completely changed the game. Being able to USB directly into your computer and have like like built-in preamps and stuff, and then all these plugins that you can get very cheaply. That's a game changer. Because I used to record back in the day, as I'm sure you did, where I had to have like the rack, everything, and it was a big, super duper pain in the ass. I used to record with a program called Multi-Sequence. It was one of the first sequencing programs that came out, and you had to do the algebra to set up the grid. You know what I mean? Like if you wanted to do stuff to a click, you had to do the algebra to set up the grid. I remember I used to get my calculator out. It's a wild, wild west. Now you just can be like, you can like practically be like, hey Siri, change the tempo to 150. Thank you. I always think that I don't know why I do that, but it's just wild. I remember even when like the proto stuff, like I had a line 6 KB, like 32, I think it was like that. And it was just like the keyboard where you had the MIDI controller and then like 2 inputs and an instrument input. It was a game changer for me. It altered the way that I work. It altered the way that I create.
Yeah.
Definitely some ease of use there. It's just good stuff. They changed everything. No more thousands of dollars worth of stupid rack stuff that's heavy. Like
Definitely become way more convenient.
Band equipment's become way more convenient too. Like just PA gear. Oh my god, I can remember like the mountain of PA gear I used to have to carry around, and like the
mixer that was this big.
That's like the 300-pound rack case with like the Crown power amps that we had in there. And
Those are heavy.
Yeah, and the EQ, and they had the mixer mounted in there, and then we had like these gigantic Mackie like speakers, like and horns that we'd like have to carry upstairs and stuff. I don't know how my joints survived it. Like nowadays I have like the QSC, like really nice, like
light
powered stuff. And I've even got stands that you like put it on the stand and you just like turn the knob and it'll I'm like super fly. Or I'll put the sub down and we'll put the thing in there and
I kind of think that I kind of feel like the record industry used to be, everybody used to sell lots of records in the 90s, early 2000s, and now people just buy a lot of recording equipment and nobody buys the records they make with the It's like they pivoted pretty well. Like everybody's got a ton of gear now, but nobody wants to pay you anything for your music. You can't even give it away. Yeah, you can't even give it away. Like that's too much.
That's actually you're not wrong. You're definitely not wrong. That's the everything has changed, and you either adapt or die. That is the modus operandi of life, you know, like
Yeah.
you just move or die. You can still sell music. I still have, you know, been able to make some dough off of some music and stuff. It's just you got to like be able to roll with the punches. Like, if you really want to sell, just here's a tip to any gigging musicians out there. You want to like make some dough. It's that swag booth, bro. You know, like put your shit on vinyl, or even better yet, put it on a cassette tape. Somebody will buy it. If you put it on a cassette tape or a vinyl and put a download card in there, you're gonna make some money. Like when I set our swag booth up, the vinyl is first thing to go. Tapes right behind it. You know, like people love that kind of stuff. I don't sell CDs there anymore.
Yeah, I mean, nobody's using them anymore. So everything's digital.
I was thinking about getting some 8-tracks.
I've been waiting for that to make a comeback.
I think CDs will make a comeback, just like tapes and records did, right? Eventually, it's just like another
the cycle
5 or 10 years. You'll
Yeah.
get your compact disc. Everybody realized how awesome they were after all.
Well, at that point, they'll be vintage, so people will start using them again.
I think CDs sound better than
Yeah.
tapes.
Of course they do.
CDs sound better than MP3s.
I still have a CD player on my home stereo. I still buy CDs. There's a couple.
I like to listen to CDs in the car. That's really the only time I listen to music, besides clips of stuff on YouTube, I guess.
I still actively. I'm still the guy that'll get a record and like sit down with the cover and like listen to the record. Like
that's the way to do it. But I got into records for a while. I bought a nice record player and bought a bunch of stuff I liked on vinyl, and I'd listen to it in my house, but then eventually nobody else wanted to listen to it with me at the volume I did. So then I got some headphones, a nice pair of headphones. Records didn't sound so good on headphones because you can hear all the
you can hear
the needle noise. And then I sold all the records in the record player and the nice headphones.
You'll
For some reason
down into submission.
Yeah.
You'll pry my record collection and my record player and stuff out of my cold dead fingers.
It's good to keep it. I'm not very good at holding on to stuff.
I don't have like a huge record collection, and something has to be pretty special for me to buy it on vinyl. It has to be like something that I either really enjoy, or one of the things that I like listening to is music within the medium that it was originally created for. My wife and dad went in halvies and bought me a Megaforce pressing of Metallica's Ride the Lightning, like a first pressing of it. And so I got to hear that on the format as intended. And that was kind of set me off like on this like quest. But there's just some albums I like. I like the tactile feedback of records, because it's literally tactile feedback. It's a quartz needle in a groove hitting like ridges, and that's literally what you're hearing. It's something physical that you put down. It's one of the reasons that I like guitar pedals as opposed to like plugins.
Yeah, I'm with you there.
Yeah, because there's a tactile nature. There's knobs to turn. It's the reason I like real synthesizers as opposed to like, I've got a big MIDI controller right here with all the knobs and things, and I can do pretty much anything I want. But there's just something about.
Yeah, I find if there's a little screen or something I eventually have to navigate, then I just don't want to mess with it.
Well, it becomes option paralysis at that point.
Yeah, it's just like there's too much. I got to go into this menu, sub menu, and then I gotta. And then by then it's nice. Sometimes it's fun. I guess I can get into it, but mostly I'm just like, I'd like to have a knob for every parameter and
I like that, dude.
Secret.
The ARP, I love the faders and stuff, and like all the twisty, turny stuff. But like one of the synths that I have that is literally like, if you give me, I have a little Roland Street Cube, just one of them little PA things, and I like to use that for my synthesizers because it's portable. And one of the things I can do is I can take a little battery pack that I made, and I have a Korg MS-20. Like one of the real spacey synthesizers with the manual patches and like the knobs and stuff. Man, you give me that thing and just sit me down somewhere, I'm entertained for hours. Like it's gonna be like behold the galactic siren sounds. You know what I mean? To like, I'm going to be issuing the universal warning with all of my crazy synth stuff because I just like the tactile feedback of it. So one of the reasons I love pedals, you know, there's a tactile sensation, turning stuff, physically altering parameters. Even with my like I have a lot of VST stuff, right? But it's all amps. I don't really have anything for effects other than maybe some reverbs that I use on like vocals and stuff. But like anytime I'm using a guitar effect through my interface, there's a pedal probably in front of it. You know what I mean? Like I'm using like pedals to do that. And I don't know, that's just the way I am. I like it. And that's maybe I'm a little old school in that fashion.
I don't know. There must be something to it because pedal market seems to be doing better than ever. Even though you can buy a used iPad for $100 that can do more than about 100, 250 pedals for free in GarageBand or whatever. So,
well, I have my like a rack system for pedals set up. I use that as like rack outboard gear. You know, instead of using the plugins for delay or reverb,
oh, that's cool. Yeah,
just patch it all through that. I mean, I know what you mean. I agree completely. Like
it's a more fun way to do it, maybe. Yeah, for some reason it feels like you're doing something.
Yeah.
You're physically touching something. There's a connection. You know what I mean? Like that. Like it's the connection. And that's one of the reasons, like that we primarily feature like smaller, you know, builders, because what you guys are doing has even a higher element of that, because not only is it you're getting these tactile sensations, you're also getting something that was crafted by a hand. You know, like there was a mind and a hand, and it's not just something that came off an assembly line. You know, it's literally made. Each unit has like your DNA in it. You know what I mean? Like it's like like we talked about this on our last podcast. It's like a well-worn guitar. You know, it's got soul because it's been infused with it over thousands of hours of somebody playing it. I feel like there's something like left behind.
Yeah, that's kind of why I've been getting into these old duo sonics, because for vintage guitars they're way cheaper because they're the kind of people thought of them as like a student guitar or whatever.
Well, they were student guitars. I mean,
yeah, like exactly. But they got the cool old sounding pickups, and it's fun to have something that's older than you, even that's been on the planet for 60 years and had string, you know, old wood, I guess, as they say.
I have a 64 Jaguar that is super fun. It's a lot of fun. It's slowly but surely being kind of resurrected back to life. But it's going to, I really like Mustangs though. I'm always got my eyes open for.
Never been a fan.
No one asked you. Just play your Telecaster.
But on the other hand, like that, you can buy like great new guitars that are like $150 these days too, that play super great and sound decent. Sure. So it's pretty amazing.
Squier classic vibe stuff is, I've always been very, very impressed with the Squier. And that's about $400, but you're like, you're getting a pretty mean guitar at that point. You know, I know guys that gig with those, like, cause it's like if it gets broke,
yeah, we can replace it easy.
Yeah, but man, dude, Matt, it's been a pleasure. You've been delightfully different than I thought you would be.
Didn't have a weird hair, you know, like crazy hairdo and doing anything crazy.
Do that.
I got to do it. No,
yeah, we got to work on it.
I'm old. I'm pretty old and boring. Just take the dog for walks at 6 a.m. and
you have your baked potato and glass of milk at 4.
Yeah, exactly.
Take with a dosa.
I do find, I'm just like, and I used to gig a lot late at night and everything, and like even the last few years, like the few gigs I have been doing, and like once it gets to like 11, I'm like, can we play yet or what? Because like I'd like to be sleeping.
I got Matlock to watch.
We're taking I gotta catch my shows and hit the hay because I gotta get
That's
up
my
early.
fucking bedtime.
Yeah.
The Matlock is not going to watch itself. Okay. No, man, it's been delightfully different than I thought it would be, and I couldn't be happier about it. Definitely just check out this man's stuff at Mattoverse. That's MATTOVERSE.com. He makes some crazy pedals. You need to get on those. I want to thank Vince DeJoya for putting up with me scheduling everything
Mhm.
and editing a lot of the stuff. And he also runs Vagabond Audio, a pedalboard building service. Please check him out at vagabondaudio.info, because .com just wasn't good enough for him.
Damn straight.
I am old George Bernoth. You can find me on the internet, all over the internet.
Sometimes
places
not
that you-
clothed.
In places
But-
you wouldn't expect sometimes. And
Seen it.
so,
It's not pretty.
we want to thank SE Electronics for providing us with microphones and sweet letters and kisses. Oh yeah,
I didn't see my SE microphone, but it's probably in the mail. I'm just
Oh.
kidding. SE.
Oh, well,
Cool
maybe. Hey,
cool-
maybe that.
cool microphones.
You just own it, because they might. Who knows? You
Send
know,
him
they might
free
be like,
shit,
"Oh, that
too."
guy. Yeah, what's going on? Who missed?
I was on a podcast that was sponsored by you guys once. It's like pretty.
Who missed
That's
the
pretty
boat?
close, right?
Who missed the boat on this? We would like to thank Get Off My Case for providing us pedal boards for all of our crazy pedalboard builds. They do great things. Vince, did I miss anyone? I tend to miss people. I think Bullet already.
Bullet cable is covered. No, we're good. Everybody's there.
Yay! I'm getting better at this. Hooray!
You didn't lick a bag of suck today. Good job.
Yes. I just want to say to everyone listening today, be fantastic always, and maybe lick a bag of suck. I don't know. Live your own life. Good night.
I am so goddamn poor.